Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, February 8th. A very active weather pattern going forward for the next couple of weeks. It looks like there will be multiple opportunities for snow and ice in much of the nation, including the Mid-Atlantic region and the Northeast U.S., and plenty of cold air around. This active weather pattern coming up, of course, follows a very active last several days. We had a long duration winter storm early last week, and then just yesterday a quick moving but quite a thumping type of snow event in the I-95 corridor that ended up producing some very sharp snowfall amount gradients in and around the I-95 corridor region. For example, in the Philadelphia metro region, the airport itself in Philly, South Philly, recorded 1.7 inches of snow yesterday, as there was quite a bit of rain at the onset and a mix of rain for several hours down in South Philadelphia. But you go up to the northern half of Chester County, upper Montgomery County, Bucks County, and there were 8, 9, 10 inches of snow that fell yesterday. So again, a couple of inches down in South Philly, all the way up to 9 or 10 inches in some of the northern and western suburbs. In D.C., the area of Reagan National Airport, only about a half an inch officially yesterday, and similar amounts to the east in Prince George's County, Anne Arundel County, maybe half inch in Crofton, for example. But then you go to the far western suburbs, anywhere from 4, 5, 6 inches. The nearby western and northern suburbs, maybe 1 to 3 inches yesterday. So pretty decent gradient as well in the D.C. metro region from the district itself all the way to the far western suburbs. New York City generally ended up with 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of snow throughout the area. First threat of snow in the coming days for the Mid-Atlantic region comes late tonight and on Tuesday, kind of a Clipper-like of system, and it will primarily impact areas north of the Mason-Dixon line, even upstate Pennsylvania as opposed to southeastern Pennsylvania will have more of an impact on Tuesday. Then a stronger system will kind of come in two waves. It looks like Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then a second wave late Thursday into Friday, and that's not the end of the threat of wintry precipitation. We certainly can have more to talk about over the upcoming weekend and into next week as well. Let's start off by looking at the 500 millibar height anomaly map for the current 5-day period that we're in right now. For the next 5 days, this is the average anomaly at 500 millibars for these next 5 days from the ensemble run of the European model last night at 0Z. A couple things I want to point out here. First of all, you have a deep upper level low situated over the southern part of Canada. This is associated with some very cold air, especially for places like interior northwestern part of the nation, Montana, for example, all the way across the northern plains into the upper part of the Midwest. Just a very, very cold air mass associated with this deep upper level low. And notice up here, very, very strong anomalies, higher heights than normal, and this is a strong blocking pattern that we have really had for several days now up in this part of Canada. And that is kind of suppressing the cold air south and also suppressing the storm track to the south. And there's basically a west to east flow of air in this region right here. And this is a battle zone region, very active region over the next several days with multiple waves just riding along that generally west to east type of flow. Notice also high pressure ridging down here in the southeastern U.S. That'll be something to watch over the next several days. All this sets up a battle zone right in this region right here between this deep upper level trough of low pressure and the southeastern ridge. And again, a lot of cold air to tap into, multiple threats of wintry precipitation going forward over the next several days. Well, let's first focus in on the cold coming up, because the models certainly now are in full agreement with very cold pattern across much of the nation for the next week to 10 days or so. What we're looking at here are 850 millibar temperature anomalies from last night's ensemble run of the Canadian model. We'll take a look at 3 different models here, all insinuating the same sort of thing. Let's go back. This is days 6 to 10. I want to start off with the current 5-day period. This is days 1 to 5, the current 5-day period we're in here. And look at the anomaly out here across southwestern Canada, Montana, extending all the way into the Dakotas. This is just extremely cold air. When you see anomalies that are some 20 plus degrees Celsius, departure from normal, that is some intense cold out here. It does extend into the mid-Atlantic region. Certainly doesn't come full brunt into the mid-Atlantic region over the current 5-day period. But again, very cold air just sitting to the north and west. Warmer than normal in the southeastern states associated with that upper level ridge across the southeastern part of the nation. But now let's go out to days 6 to 10 here and notice what happens here. Again, keep in mind this is an ensemble run. Let me just say that ensemble runs tend to smooth things out as you progress in time because they factor in climatology. So almost by definition, they'll smooth things out. So this is a very, very cold signal when it's 6 to 10 days out. And it definitely extended more so into the mid-Atlantic region, started eroding away in this period in the southeastern U.S. So it goes from days 1 to 5 like this to this, and that's signaling it generally gets progressively colder and colder in the mid-Atlantic region over this next 10-day period. Let's now go to another model. Well, now we'll take a look at the European ensemble run at 0Z. Same sort of thing here. I want to look at days 1 to 5. This is the current 5-day period. Brutal cold up across this area. Cold extending colder than normal for this current 5-day period, extending down into the mid-Atlantic region. Here's your high pressure region. Just look at this battle zone region right here with warmer than normal across the southern U.S. and colder than normal and some intense cold across the northern U.S. and that's what sets up this battle zone that we'll have to deal with over the next several days here in the mid-Atlantic region. Let's now go out to days 6 to 10. Similar to the Canadian model, it kind of expands to the east and southeast, even colder for an average over that 5-day period, days 6 to 10, which by the way is the middle part of the month, February 13th to February 18th. So this is again a very cold look going forward here, days 6 to 10. Well, just for completeness sake, let's take a look at the ensemble run of the GFS from last night at 0Z. This is the current 5-day period of 850 millibar temperature anomalies, saying the same sort of thing as the European and Canadian model. Very, very cold, centered over the northwestern part of the U.S., northern plains, somewhat colder than normal across the Mason-Dixon line and areas to the north. Then we go out to days 6 to 10. Same sort of thing, expands, intensifies that cold into the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S., starts to kind of eat away at the southeastern ridge in days 6 to 10. Again, this is the middle of the month time period from February 13th to February 18th. Well, now let's get into some of the details with respect to these frozen precipitation events, at least a threat for some snow and ice and rain over the next several days in the mid-Atlantic region. Just want to start off here with a look at the European model run from last night. This is the 0Z run. The only thing I want to point out here is how cold this model run looks in the overnight model run for the European model. This is very important because, again, we have multiple chances of precipitation over the next several days. Just going to focus in on this particular blue line here, which represents the 540 thickness level. The thickness level here refers to the thickness of the lowest half of the atmosphere, from basically the ground level, or 1,000 millibars, up to 500 millibars, half the atmosphere. And you can use thicknesses to kind of correlate the temperatures. Generally, the lower the thickness, the lower the temperature. And meteorologists tend to use the 540 thickness line. It's kind of a range snow line, and it's a good indicator of where the cold air is. This is the 540 line, this solid blue line here, and, all the way down to the south, the southern part of Virginia and northern part of North Carolina. Just want to kind of move through the rest of the week, and watch how little that 540 line moves over the next several days. It would just keep moving forward here. Notice it's kind of cutting across the DC metro region. We're now into Wednesday, and there's precipitation involved, but we're going through into the latter part of the week, now into Friday morning, still kind of cutting through DC metro region, and really it sits there for much of the week. And basically the bottom line there is a cold model run here, and it keeps cold air in all the way down to the DC metro region, so there certainly is a chance for accumulating snow even down there over the next several days in the DC metro region, which has had a struggle with some of these events to get some accumulating snow. But again, quite a chilly run here for the overnight European model. Now let's take a look at the 0Z operational run of the GFS. We're looking at a 500 millibar vorticity field here, and remember up front we talked about deep upper level low sitting over southern Canada and kind of a zonal flow or a west to east flow across the middle of the nation with a southeastern ridge. And this is the battle zone area here, right across the middle of the country from west to east, including the mid-Atlantic region, with very cold air to the north and west and warmer than normal air to the south and east. And we'll just have multiple waves of energy moving across that battle zone region here from west to east. This is the forecast map from last night's 0Z run for this morning. And first of all, we have a wave of energy moving into the Mid-Atlantic region on Tuesday. This is kind of that clipper type of system, but again, it'll have a bigger impact north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border than south. Maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow on Tuesday, the New York City metro region, maybe a coating to an inch or so in Philadelphia, especially the northern suburbs. Little or no impact in the DC metro region. Could have a rain or snow shower, maybe sleet on Tuesday, but primarily the precipitation is north of the Pennsylvania-Maryland border. And then we just see other waves of energy here, middle of the week, right in here, again, moving across from west to east, that battle zone region. Here it is, right in the mid-Atlantic region, Wednesday night. And this very well could be accumulating snow associated with this, even in D.C. on Wednesday night going into Thursday morning. Certainly can have some mixing with some sleet during this event, but it kind of comes in two different waves. Here we are into Thursday morning, and then kind of a secondary push of energy down here from later Thursday night into Friday morning. And that's not the end of it. We'll get into the upcoming weekend, and we'll have to look at more energy across the western part of the nation going into the upcoming weekend. Very active weather pattern with multiple waves of energy moving into the Mid-Atlantic region from west to east. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps from the operational run of the GFS. We have an Arctic high sitting right on top of the Mid-Atlantic region this morning. You know you're in Arctic air when you see dew points way down in the single digits. I saw as low as 7 in southeastern part of Pennsylvania a couple hours ago. Middle teens for overnight lows in some of the suburban areas across the I-95 corridor. Very cold day today. And then we'll move into the overnight hours and watch this particular system here with that next wave of energy. And again, primarily having an impact across Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, little or no impact in D.C., south of the Mason-Dixon line. But there could be a coating to an inch or so in Philly, maybe 1 to 3 inches out of this on Tuesday in the New York City metro region. A little bit of a low pressure area will form. Again, not much of an impact out across the D.C. area. But then we go a brief time period with high pressure in control as we begin the day on Wednesday. Right here, again, very cold air just to the north and west and warmer than normal air to the south and east as we begin the day on Wednesday. And then we have another wave of energy here, and it should move into enough cold air to cause a chance for accumulating snow Wednesday night, maybe late afternoon, Wednesday night, all the way down to the D.C. metro region. We'll have to watch for this, even the potential for some decent snowfall, significant snow accumulation possible Wednesday night, Thursday morning, all the way down to the D.C. metro region. Here we are into the overnight hours on Wednesday into Thursday morning. Certainly the chances of sleet mixes in down across the D.C. metro region, probably primarily in the form of snow. Pennsylvania, Philly, New York City, Wednesday night, Thursday morning. That low pressure area kind of pulls away by Thursday afternoon, and we have to deal with kind of a secondary push late Thursday into Friday. So kind of a long duration event, whether you call it two different systems or one long event that comes in two waves. Again, Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and then later Thursday into Friday. Here we are Thursday afternoon, the first one pulls out, and then we have to look to the south and west for that second system. And this certainly can extend farther to the north than what the overnight run of the GFS had. Snow perhaps all the way down to D.C., but even up across Pennsylvania going into Friday morning. And then we have a lot of cold air with very strong high pressure sitting over the northern plains as we begin the upcoming weekend. Even kind of a damming setup here with cold air sliding to the south and east of the Appalachian Mountains as we begin the upcoming weekend. A lot of moisture as we start the weekend out here across the middle of the nation. A lot of cold air across the northern U.S., even some moisture off the southeastern U.S. coastline. So multiple threats for snow, sleet, freezing rain, maybe plain rain over the next several days, and that certainly includes the threat of accumulations here on Tuesday. Philly, small accumulations possible, coating to an inch or so. New York City, 1 to 3 inches. Little or no impact on Tuesday in D.C. metro region. But then the next event, kind of a long duration event, comes in two waves. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, Thursday night, Friday morning. Could have accumulating snow all the way down to the D.C. metro region in the event coming during the second half of the week. And the threat for wintry precipitation does not end there with the end of the work week. We certainly have more possibilities coming this weekend and into next week. So stay tuned to PerspectiveWeather.com over the next several days. A lot going on. Definitely a volatile weather pattern. That's it for now. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.